Christmas is nearly here. I know that Christmas can be one of the most magical times of the year, but it can also be one of the most stressful times financially. Whether it's gifts, decorations, food, or those unexpected expenses that pop up, it can be easy to feel overwhelmed if you don't plan ahead. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you my top tips on how you can financially prepare for Christmas and avoid overspending, stay within your budget, and have a really magical holiday season. As always, feel free to skip around the timestamps to save time. Let's get into it. First up, let's talk about saving. One of the best ways to avoid financial stress during Christmas is to start early with a savings plan. What I personally do is set up a separate bank account for Christmas savings, and that is all that gets saved in there is just money allocated for Christmas. You can decide how much you want to save overall and then break it down into manageable amounts that you can put aside each week. Even if it's just $20 a week, that can add up over time and give you a nice buffer for your holiday spending. For those of you who are like me and have already been saving throughout the year, you're ahead of the game. But if not, it's never too late to get started. Start today and you'll thank yourself when Christmas rolls around and you have a little cushion for your holiday spending. Once you've started your savings, the next step is to create a Christmas budget. Now, this is such a crucial step if you want to avoid overspending. What I personally like to do is write down different categories on where I want to spend my money for Christmas. So for example, this is gifts, food, decorations, any holiday outings or occasions that we have coming up, and then also making sure we've got money aside for any gift wrapping or postage of any holiday gifts. Once you've got your categories mapped out, you can then allocate an amount of money to each category. The key here is to make sure that you're being realistic with your budget. It can be very easy to underestimate how much you're going to need for each category. Something else that I personally like to do is just give myself a little buffer or cushion in each category so there is a little bit of wiggle room if needed. But most importantly, you need to stick to your budget. If you've set yourself a limit for gifts, make sure you try and stick to that limit. It might feel hard at first, but remember, the point of this is to make sure that you're not going to put yourself under any unnecessary financial strain over Christmas. Let's move on to gift giving, which can sometimes be the biggest expense that families face. My number one tip here is to plan your gifts early. Make yourself a list of everybody that you'd like to buy for and then set a budget for each person. This will help you to avoid any impulse buys or last-minute spending sprees. I personally like to start shopping early and make the most of these sale days so that I can get good bargains and get my Christmas shopping out of the way early. Another tip here is to consider alternative gifts. This could be things like handmade gifts or even giving experience gifts. These can actually be a bit more meaningful and also save you money than traditional store-bought gifts. They add a nice little personal touch that can make Christmas just feel a little bit more special. Something that we do like to do in our family is do some Christmas baking and then gift this baking to our neighbors and friends. Now, I know it can be really tempting if you have a credit card to put all your Christmas expenses on a credit card and then think that you'll deal with it later. If you can, I really recommend avoiding relying on credit cards for your holiday expenses. By all means, put things on your credit card, but only if you've got money that you can transfer across and pay it off immediately with. Christmas is such a short season and you don't want to be starting off the new year with a bunch of debt. In my experience, in my line of work as a mortgage advisor, I see a lot of people come through early January, mid-January, early Feb, and they've racked up a bunch of holiday debt that they then need to look to consolidate. If you are going to use a credit card, make sure that you try to keep track of the spending that you're doing on it. Make sure that you've got a plan in place to pay it off quickly. High interest rates on credit cards can make holiday spending much more expensive in the long run if you can't pay it off. Instead, try to stick to your cash or your savings for your holiday expenses. Only use your credit card if you've got a clear strategy to pay it off quickly. As the holiday season progresses, it's important that you keep track of your spending. It's so easy to go a little bit over budget here and there, spend a little bit more here, a little bit more there, and lose track of it. All of those little expenses can add up really quickly. What I like to personally do is just check in with my budget every week on what I'd planned to spend and what I'd actually spent. This way I can look to adjust things if necessary and I won't be shocked when I look at my bank account at the end of December. I personally like to just use an Excel spreadsheet, but if you prefer to use digital tools, there's lots of apps and technology out there that can help you track your spending. Another thing to keep in mind as you prepare financially for Christmas is to be aware of those hidden expenses that can sneak up on you. Things like holiday parties, Secret Santa, or even buying food and drink when you're out for Christmas lunch or dinners, they can really add up. These little things can also get overlooked when you're setting your budget for Christmas time. So something that I like to do for this and to make sure it's covered is to add in a little buffer for unexpected expenses. I usually just call this miscellaneous Christmas spending. This category just helps me cover any of those little costs that are unexpected and can pop up so that I have a buffer there and I'm prepared for anything. Finally, I just want to remind you to prioritize what actually matters during Christmas time. It's so easy to get caught up in the commercial side of Christmas and lose sight of what actually matters. At the end of the day, it's not about how much you spend. It's about the time that you spend with loved ones and the memories that you make. If your budget is tight, that's okay. Focus on the things that bring the most joy to your family. Maybe that's spending time together, starting some new traditions, or just soaking up those little moments of the holiday season. Remember, it's not about having the most gifts under the tree. It's about the love, connection, and gratitude that we feel during this special time of the year. I hope these tips help you feel more confident and prepared as we move towards the holiday season. Christmas doesn't have to be stressful. With a little planning, you can enjoy the holiday season without going into debt or overspending. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.